Hello and welcome to Triathlonology, a triathlon podcast by Animis racing team. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Jacqui. We are a mum and son coaching team who have changed our lives through the sport of triathlon.
Our podcast aims to break down the mysteries of triathlon training and show you, the listener, how simple and flexible it can be, so that it really does become part of your lifestyle and not just a hobby.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Triathlonology, a podcast by Animis racing team.
I'm Jacqui Saxon.
And I'm Oliver Saxon, and together we're a mum and son coaching team based in North Lincolnshire and South Yorkshire. And in this episode, for those of you who are watching online, you'll see a different background than my office because we're actually at mum and dad's house for tea because of things that have happened this week, which we'll probably go into during the course of this episode. So, last week we left you on the cliffhanger that we were going to take part in our first triathlon in 5 years, it is actually, or almost 5 years, and that we were going to do that at the T100 in London where we will be doing the sprint. So we really ought to better tell you how we went on.
Well, for one, I think it was the best race I've ever done. The best organised race I've ever done. Because the best race I've ever done is World Championships in London. But this was by far and away the most athlete-centred organisation ever. It was fantastic. I have absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I mean, the expo itself was really, it was small but really well formed. It was easy to navigate. When you got there to register, it was clear where you had to go to pick up your numbers and your bits and your
chips
and all that kind of jazz. And then afterwards where you needed to go and pick up your merch, because there was literally a stand that said merch, free merch, where you got your stuff from there.
Oh, did it say swag?
Swag rather than merch. And then there was a merchandise stand next to it
where we've got
where we bought our merch, because you know we're always suckers for that, including the hat that I've got on backwards.
No, your hat was free.
Oh yeah, my hat was in the bag. So let's tell people what we got. So bearing in mind that we got a bit more than probably other people who've done the sprint triathlon, because we'd entered the T100 full event but had to transfer down for illness, injury, etc. To the sprint, and we didn't have a refund. So what did we get in our free swag?
We got an amazing transition bag. In fact, I said to Oliver, this is a bit like my Orca bag that Mouse bit into and ruined. So it's really big bag, this probably big. You've got room for your helmet, special place for your helmet, wetsuit, all your bits and bobs. I'd have been happy with that, to be honest.
It also is really useful as a travel holdall.
Yeah.
Because there's loads of room in there, and if you just go in, I mean, you're not going on a Ryanair airplane for free, but if you were going somewhere domestically and you just wanted to go away for a few days, you can easily fill that up and have it as a little suitcase and take that as a holdall with all your stuff on it. If you're going on the train or something, really good bag. What was in the bag? You
got a hat. I'll turn it around, Oliver, and show people. Yep, a hat. You had... Oh, and I forgot to bring it. Have you brought yours?
What?
Mug.
No, I've not brought my mug.
Oh, this really good, like, thermos type mug.
A bit like a half Stanley mug, but not really a Stanley mug.
Yeah, but really good.
Yeah. And we got our race t-shirt, didn't we?
Yeah, race t-shirt, and also some sort of green stuff.
Oh, something from Athletic Greens.
Yeah.
Who I need to give to Jess, because she'll have that in her green smoothie in the morning. Yeah, well, it's not really for me.
Yeah.
So, excellent bag. Got given that, and then we went to the merchandise stall next door where we bought ourselves a hoodie.
Yeah, because I did say last hoodie I bought from a triathlon was a 2013 Virgin triathlon.
But it looked really nice. I mean, it looks really nice.
And it feels nice.
Yeah. We bought the generic T100 t-shirt that Mum's wearing, and also the T100 London shirt that I'm wearing, because actually they're really nice. Like to put on, they're made well, they're comfortable.
I don't think
they were
that expensive.
I don't
to be
think
honest,
they could have really lifted you for another 10 or 15 quid more than they did. And well, if you think that the average football shirt in the championship is about £54-55, all the t-shirts at the and Triathlon is a middle class market, and this is in London where they could take advantage of you. All the t-shirts were under 45 quid, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Even the ones with the mesh back, which would be really, I mean, for once we're going to complain about the weather in that it's too hot and sticky at a minute, so you can wear this type of t-shirt with a mesh back, and when you're out training, and it's not as uncomfortable as everything just sticking to you.
Yeah, again, it's an athlete shirt. Somebody who's an athlete and has thought about what do you want to wear.
And then once we had got all that kind of stuff, we decided.
We met up with our.
We met up with Mel. We met up with Mel and Ruth, who'd come down as a team manager, and we're going to get some clips from them to talk about their weekend. While we're in this podcast, we're going to add a voice clip. I've seen other podcasts do it. It can't be that difficult. Sorry, Mindy, if it is. But we met up with Mel and Ruth and her partner Mick.
Yeah.
And made sure Mel was all right, and they got everything, and then they went off to get some lunch, didn't they, while we were doing our bits and bobs.
Yeah.
And after we'd done our bits, we decided that we were going to go to the Van Rysel shop.
Because if you know Oliver, he's been going on about this for months.
Yes, because I am a big fan of Decathlon, and particularly the Van Rysel brand that's within it. In fact, I'm going to say that probably over the next year, I'm going to move most of my training wear to Van Rysel kit, because it feels nice when you've got it on. It's inexpensive, and I'm just gonna move over to that because they've got a lot of R&D.
Nice.
Well, it's helpful that Decathlon are now invested in the cycling team at Decathlon Edu2 Le Mondial.
Yeah,
because
I've got a lovely cycling shirt, haven't I?
you have, but that also means the R&D that goes into all that kind of stuff, the budget's a bit bigger. And as we found out when we went to the Van Rysel shop, we managed to see all the stuff that they got there, hadn't they? So they'd got some bib shorts.
Oh yeah, the bib shorts.
That were had different levels of pad in them depending on the length of ride you were going to do.
Yes, so like
and
for an
this is
hour.
the first time I've ever seen it.
I've never seen
like
that
this
before.
on a commercial basis without it being some niche company doing it and flogging at you for a fortune. But they'd got some for an hour that were about a tenner, some for 2 hours that were about 20 quid, and some for 3 hours that were about 30 quid.
And they were all good quality.
They looked at it. So I am going to invest in those 1 hour and 2 hour ones, and then over the autumn and winter I am going to give them a thorough testing on Taylor Swift and see how they actually feel on them and compare them to my Position 1 trousers, which we also heard the advert for. They are terrific, but also compare them to like my Wiggle ones that I normally wear.
Yeah, but I mean, Position 1's like really expensive.
Yes, comparatively, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you just mentioned Taylor Swift. You're going to have to tell people what you mean by Taylor Swift.
Why have I not mentioned Taylor Swift
I don't
before?
think you have.
So, I thought I might have mentioned Taylor Swift before on the podcast, but perhaps I haven't. So, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Taylor Swift, the virtual cycling company, have brought out their Zwift Ride bike, which is basically a smart bike fastened to a turbo, and it is almost silent. Like when you're riding it, it's very difficult to hear the gear changes, even if you're like thrashing away in the biggest gear. It's very, very difficult to hear any kind of noise coming from it. So we discovered this at the cycling show. It's one of the few things that was there that was interesting, and I decided that I was going to get myself it because I'd been looking for a bike I could just put on the turbo all the time and leave it there. And then this sort of did two jobs in one, because with it being adjustable easily with one Allen key, you can adjust the bars, the saddle height, everything. That means that if other people want to have a go on it, like for example if Mum came round and I was running on the treadmill and she wanted to do a bike session, it's really easy to adjust it to fit her requirements in like 2 minutes. If Jess decides she wants to go on the bike, not that she will because it'll hurt her, because it's not soft enough, the saddle, but she can adjust it in 2 minutes and get on that. So the fact that it was multi-use was also helpful, but it's just it means I don't now have to get my bike off the turbo and put it back on the turbo, which I hated doing.
When you want to go for a ride.
When I want to go for a ride, or because it just adds extra time onto stuff and frustration and getting it off, because I'm not a bike mechanic, so it takes me ages. Whereas now I don't have to bother. I don't have to do anything other than just plug it in and go on. But because it is a Zwift bike, and because Taylor Swift sounds a bit like Taylor Swift, and all my bikes have got names. You can message the show if you want to know what my other ones are called and what they are. But the Zwift ride bike is now known as Taylor Swift. So I will be trying out all these bib shorts on Taylor Swift this autumn and winter. But after I'd got over all that in the Van Rysel shop, and I'd bought a short sleeve jersey and a long sleeve jersey, because you never really know what weather you're going to face in England, so it's better to have both. We had a look around and thought there were probably other things I wanted to buy, but I've remembered I've still got to, it's my wedding anniversary next week, and I'd still like to be married, so didn't buy these things. And then we went back to our travel lodge, didn't we? Which was supposed to be premium. It was no better than a normal travel lodge.
No, and I'm going to have a bit of a rant here, because I thought to myself, I said to Oliver on, I think it might have been Thursday, guess what? I've decided, seeing as we're going to London and we're going to do this race and what have you, want a bit of comfort, I've booked us in, I've upgraded us to the super room, because I've seen it online and it looks amazing. We've got this amazing shower, nice big room, super duper posh coffee machine and upgraded beds, everything. I said, we'll be nice and comfy.
It wasn't, in short.
No.
The coffee machine existed, but didn't have no coffee pods, so you had to buy your own.
Well, I weren't doing that.
But if you were having regular tea or coffee, from kettle, then they were sachets provided. So. And
it were only PG tips.
Yeah, we weren't drinking that.
No, we're from Yorkshire. There's only one tea.
Yeah, Yorkshire tea. And the shower head weren't magnificent, were it? And it didn't work either.
How they described it, I thought it was this big shower cubicle with water jetting at all. I'm thinking, no, it was not.
Other than an ironing board, it weren't any different.
No.
The telly was still smaller. It weren't particularly I didn't notice difference in beds.
I didn't. And it were only it weren't a massive room or anything. Yeah. So I was really mad.
Yeah. So when we left on Monday,
complained
then got some. I did had something done about it, so fair play to Travelodge, because they didn't have to do that,
but don't bother booking one.
Yeah, don't bother booking one. If anything, and you're wanting to book somewhere that's different, the Hub by Premier Inn are really good, because I've stayed in one of them. The room's a lot smaller, but the shower's really good. You got a lot more tech ports, and you can plug your Fire Stick or whatever into the TV so you can watch stuff, but the room's small. Other than that, great if you're going for a short weekend. We wouldn't have been able to put us bikes in there though, which is the main purpose of having the room when we go to London Triathlon, to be able to put our bikes in it, because so many people get the vans stolen or contents of the vans stolen during that weekend. It's
just not
unbelievable. So we just emptied it out and put it in his room, because at least then it's safe. We then started watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what we were watching. Swimming mainly. Yeah, swimming. Well, no, we had to be back to watch final. We decided to stay in so we could watch that final, but in the afternoon we were watching other stuff, but I can't remember.
Yeah, because I just watch Olympics because I love it. I just think it's great. I'd watch anything. All Olympic sport. They've trained 4 years, well, this time 3. To get there, it's worth watching.
And then you met Kelly, didn't you, for a...
Yep, one of my athletes, Kelly. Because we had arranged to meet, us all to meet in the Excel, but for some reason Kelly had got stuck for 3/4 of an hour outside Buckingham Palace because of all these protests and what have you. So she was really late and panicking about getting a bike racked and all that load of palaver. So she popped over to the hotel and we did we talked about the race, what we were going to do, what she needed to do with nutrition, what paces, sort of thing that she needed to be swimming, biking and running at, and most of all, calming nerves and making sure that she enjoyed it.
And we'd planned a team meal for that night, So we'd had a look at some Italian restaurants, haven't we? Because you know, we said before, pasta and risotto okay before a race. But then Ruth and her partner decided to go to a Chinese restaurant because they weren't racing, so it didn't really matter to them. Mel were too nervous to have anything to eat, weren't she? So she didn't go out, and so we just said, well, do we want to walk 15 minutes to DLR and then get it to wherever we've got to go for this restaurant, and then have to make sure we're eating time to get back to watch Adam Peaty's final?
No, Adam Peaty were on Sunday. It was semi-final.
Semi-final. Did we want to get back in time for that? And we decided we didn't want to take that risk, so we did a Deliveroo from an Italian, and it were
nice.
Right.
It were all right.
It were all right.
Yeah.
It didn't travel as well as mine didn't travel. I had a carbonara and it didn't travel as well, obviously.
Mine were all right.
I should have had a risotto in hindsight. That'd have travelled better, but you know, live and learn. So, and then went to bed, didn't we? And got up on Sunday morning. Got all his bits that we were into his tri-suits, put all the stickers on everything. And there's one thing I hate about big triathlons, it's how many stickers they make you stick on your nice helmet and on your nice bike that you then get off and use sticky stuff remover on later to get all the sticky stuff off. I hate it. It's so much extra like admin in your life afterwards. Yeah. Essentially, so that they can get more photographs of you. I'm not that bothered about being photographed.
No, because I always think when you're looking, your face is red, your hair's all over it, shan't, and you're like usually gurning or something. Why would you want a photo?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not. Anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? I definitely did not wear the tattoo numbers.
I had to do, because we all had a wristband and mine fell off.
Yeah, but my wristband fell off, so I did not decide to wear the race numbers because I thought, what's the point in this? Yeah, it might make me look a bit more pro, but my performance ain't going to be pro, so I'm not putting that on and making myself look an idiot, and having to scrub my skin afterwards to get them off, so I don't look like I've got yesterday's tattoos on when I meet clients. So yeah, we didn't put them on. Then we decided that we were going to drive to Excel, didn't we? Because having walked there on the Saturday, up the DLR, I mean, we could have got in the lift, but you don't really know, do you, if it's ever going to be in service or not in service.
No, and would we really? They're only little. We're not really going to get his bike in and us and a bag and everything.
When we'd walked there, which took about 15 minutes, didn't it? We just thought on his way back, did we really want to walk all that way
with his bags,
and his transition bags at that time in the morning to then get there and then sit, well, in your case, sit about for ages with no base. Yeah. So we decided to take the balloon van, which makes it easy to find if nothing else.
It does, because they were only mine.
And park it in the athlete car park, and so we drove there with all his gear in the back, and then we had his breakfast, which is his faithful tin of rice pudding. Yeah.
Which is an improvement because it has a ring pull now. You don't have to anybody to open it.
Yeah, because I can't use normal can openers. I can't do them. I have to have electric ones. So we'd add that with an electrolyte drink, and then decided to go and get racked and checked in and everything. So we got loads of time. It's amazing how quickly it comes back to you.
Yeah, how to lay everything out. Because I was thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? But then I thought, just got to lay everything out. In order, like your helmet with your upside down with your straps out ready to put on your head, your sunnies, your bike shoes, your trainers, laces. Well, I because I weren't going to be speedy, I thought I'm not putting elastic laces. I'm just going to do shoes with laces for my shoes. Your socks, if you're wearing socks and what have you, and it all comes back to you and you think, oh, I hadn't forgot.
Yeah, and looking for spots to remember where you are. Like in the Excel, it's easier because there's numbers on the wall, so you just have to, like, big black numbers, so you can't really miss them, unless you're blind like my dad, because he misses everything when he ain't got his glasses on. But so I was like, right, okay, I'm doing a number S9, and when I look around the other side to where I'm going to be coming into or going out from, it's that number. So that were a lot, and I was quite pleased that I remembered to do that, because it does make things a lot easier when you're trying to locate your stuff in a massive transition to have a little flagpole that you can well, I've got to be in that coordinate, and then I'll find my bag, which were easier for me because I'd already decided I would just go take everything easy. And by the time I actually got to transition, there weren't many people in my wave there, so my bike stood out like a sore thumb because it's bright yellow. And then, so after we got all racked up, we decided just to go and have a sit down and have a drink of water and get ready. And then Ruth and Mick came and joined us, and they looked after his stuff while we went off and raced. I went off to go into the swim brief, where my only criticism of the event is in the swim brief, where the swim brief marshal told us that we had to swim around the yellow boys, and then literally 2 minutes later, when we'd left all that and we got down the stairs onto the quayside, the actual swim marshal was like, you need to swim around the white boys instead, which were much nearer. And made more sense, because when you looked at it, it didn't look like the yellow boys would be 750 metres, probably a lot more than that. But it did make you feel a bit confused when you're getting in as to whether you were swimming around. But, you know, by the time I got to that point, I had plenty of people to follow. It weren't like I were ever going to lead them out, so I weren't that worried. And then a really good part of the triathlon. I thought
the swim entry.
Because before, when we'd done the London Triathlon, you all like just get in.
Off this pontoon, you have to jump
in. Battle for a bit of a space, and then they blow a whistle or honk a horn.
No, they had a line, they had a rope.
But they also had an airdrop. Yeah, like an air horn.
But the kayakers held that rope and just dropped it, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, so, and then everybody set off. But with this, the timing chip was programmed to start as you entered into the water. So it didn't matter if you hung about for a little bit to acclimatise, because that'd just go on your swim time, or if you swam off straight away. But because of that, it meant they could set off people like one by one rather than in a big group. So if you were a bit faster, you could get yourself to the front of the line, and if you wanted to take it a bit steady, you could be back towards the back, and you'd have plenty of room. And the wave, I didn't think was as big as there'd been at London Triathlon either.
No, definitely not, Oliver. Definitely
which
not.
made the swim a lot more experience, a lot nicer. The water was all right. It were cold because it's 19 degrees, and for once in England it were like 28 degrees while we were racing. But I thought the water quality weren't so bad. I hadn't got any tinted goggles on because I'm wearing my trusted Decathlon goggles, and they're clear, and I could see all the green in the water. Which made me think, oof, there's a lot of algae in here. So that's either some extra protein from the plankton, or I'm going to get something as a result of this if I swallow too much. But it were all right. And you sort of went round the swim fine, round the boys fine. Had a tactical wee in my wetsuit, and then went and come out. And they were there helping you get the wetsuits off again, weren't they?
And putting them in the
plastic bags, because it was
and
absolutely clear that you weren't allowed to go and do anything other than be dry when you went up them steps. You had to have everything wet off and in a bag well in advance of that. So into the plastic bag it went, and my wetsuit went off surprisingly easily, and I just decided I'm just going to walk.
I would say I walked, because before I've run, and I thought, oh, do you know what's the point? And it's a long way.
Yes, and I just thought, I ain't troubling scorers today, I'm just going to walk, because what's the point slipping over and injuring myself for something that's not going to be worth doing. So in both that and the bike and both the bike, T1 and T1 out and T2 in, I just walked with my bike shoes on, because again I thought, I'm not slipping on this floor, because you see people pushing their bike along as you're going out into the bike section with the cleats on, slipping about, because cleats aren't meant to walk on a shiny surface, or any surface, to be perfectly honest. And I just think, I'm not taking that risk today.
I will say, I think I mean, like every road in England, they've deteriorated a lot in 5 years.
Yeah, they have.
They said that there's all that money in Excel, they're not to be doing something about it.
It probably
roads.
doesn't help with all construction that's going on around there, because there'll be big construction lorries that turn up every day and damage the road because they weigh a lot, and then there's no point resurfacing it until all construction's done. So I kind of understand that, but yeah, it did make it a bit at a time, a bit bumpy, didn't it, when you were riding. But a really nice out and back course. Mum had forgotten quite how short and hilly it is because there's a lot of flyovers over the water or over other roads. But I'd sort of remembered that.
And I had forgotten about the yellow lines across the road as you're going.
Coming back into the XL, which are like, they are
in fact, I thought
speed limiter lines, so they're designed for cars to be like rumble strips to tell you to slow down.
And when if you forget and go over, like, because you're going, you're riding, and you've got your head down a bit, and you think, oh no, you haven't gone to the side where there's a little bit of clear space. My head thought it was going to come out of my helmet. It was that buoyancy. Well, anyway, I only did that on first lap. I didn't do it on second.
Maybe my Trek Madone were a bit more set up to take the thing because it is a bit more springy. But anyway, but bike went without an itch, went round, no problem. Back my bag, back up, put my shoes on, and went for a run. And I did a Jeff run, and because I always was going to do where I was going to, because of my injury still with my leg, and fitness, I was just going to run for 3 minutes and walk for a minute. And the first time that I went through the feed zone, I walked all the way through that and had a Morton water gel thing, and some water, and then that, which was actually really quite pleasant. Actually, I'd not had it in that form before, and it were really nice.
I thought the feed stations on the run were immense,
and they were well, considering like they'd already had a lot of people go past.
Because don't forget, I went next to the last wave as well, and there were plenty of stuff.
Yeah, because we've been in races before where if you're towards the back of the event order, shall we say, there's fewer and less stuff available in transition, or not transition, rather in the on the course for fueling. But there were loads of stuff there, but they just kept bringing it out, and it was really, really well done. Because that's not been the case of other big triathlons that we've done.
Never ever have we experienced that before.
And even the run was organised sufficiently really well, so that if you were doing anything other than the T100, you knew there was a turnaround point, and there was a marshal there telling you every time, turn around here if you're not doing the T100, and if you are, carry on, which I thought was good because the sign was there, but I was looking
race mode.
Well, I was looking for it because I weren't in race mode, but if I'd have had my head down and just been ploughing along, I'd have missed that. So all marshals were really friendly and encouraging.
Yeah, I will also say on the bike, what I've experienced before is that, especially in London, people think they can just cross road. Don't matter whether you're going like 20, 30 mile an hour on your bike, they just want to cross. But I've never seen as many barriers. It must have cost them an absolute freaking fortune, because we know how much barriers cost.
But that's the advantage of having a pro race on both days. It means you get to shut the road a bit better.
And the marshals on the crossings were strict with the public, and nobody crossed the road when anybody was riding along. I can't fault it. Can't fault it.
No, it was and as you got into the finish, so as you came back up the hill into the XL Centre, or the ramp into the XL Centre, you peeled off to go to the finish line, and the finish line itself was really good. Yeah, it wasn't like a normal gantry. It was a proper professional gantry with a commentary box behind it, and it looked really good. And like for photographs and stuff, if you were like wanting to get photographs of it like Mel, it's absolutely terrific. It couldn't have been a better race. And
there were food at the end.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, I did a really nice cookie and a glass of wine and some water.
I mean, there were no Erdinger, which I've got to say, I really wanted a pint of Erdinger, but
cookie were good.
I had a muffin.
Mekon muffin.
And a packet of pretzels.
You did. I just got a cookie. And your medal that you got given were weighty. Yeah. It is very weighty.
I forgot to bring, I've left it at work.
Mine's at home. I suppose we can send a picture of it and we can get it flashed up in the middle of us while we're talking about it. But yeah, very nice medal, weighty, and all in all 100% worth it. And we will be signing up when the early bird prices.
Yeah, when they send us the email, we're off. But we are definitely doing
the T100 next year.
Definitely, that's going to be my whole focus from now on, because I'm still struggling with my hip bursitis that I've got, and I'm going to get that cleared up, and then I'm going to take steady Eddie. I'm going to build myself up so that next August, end of July, whenever it is, I'm going for it.
And then we met Mel, who'd finished her race, and we congratulated her and got a small debrief for her. And then we all went and got changed and warmed up again, and then went to a pub to get some food where none of us were particularly hungry, but we all ordered something and had a drink, didn't we?
Yeah, because you had to have some protein.
And then everybody went home, or everybody disappeared, and we went back to our travel lodge
room.
And I had a nap for 2 hours because I was shattered, and then we decided to have a KFC delivered, didn't we? Because we didn't want to miss the Audi and Peaty's final.
Yeah.
And what point going out for a curry or anything when it was just two of us?
We thought, let's just have a Kufaka.
Yeah, so we just had a Kufaka, which didn't have all the items delivered in it, but Just Eat have given us a refund for partially some of that stuff. Like £4 or whatever it was that they didn't deliver. And then on Monday morning, we went home, packed the van up, drove back and went straight to work.
Yeah.
Where I've not really had... I mean, Tuesday I was absolutely shattered. I had to give myself a day off because I could barely keep awake.
That's young people.
Well, it could be a multitude of things, really. But
that's why we were a bit late recording podcast.
Yes, because Monday was a bit... Well, we didn't have any of his equipment to be able to record it on Monday because we come straight from London to work.
And then we were coaching.
Yeah, and Tuesday were a write-off for me, so we didn't do it then. So we were recording it on a Thursday, which is unusual, but we've had a really good time, haven't we? And we could only thoroughly recommend it. And now we're going to, by the magic of Mindy, we are going to stitch in what Mel and Kelly and Ruth thought about the weekend from their perspective.
Hi, just a word from Mindy. Our next speaker is Mel.
For me, I think it was such a great event, really well organised, and it was nice to feel, yes, a little bit daunted, but also it was nice to feel quite excited that I'd done the training, so obviously been coached by you guys online, and some, one-to-one meets. I feel very lucky as well that I managed to get the April triathlon holiday done, because that was good solid 2 weeks, and really helped me focus to get my head into where I needed to be for the T100. I'm actually quite glad now that I didn't downgrade. As you know, I was a little bit apprehensive, nervous, whatever you want to call it, about the full distance, especially with breaking my hand and, recovering from the hernia up as well. Didn't know if I had it in me. But actually, nerves aside, I did feel quite confident going into the event. And I think what helped also was how well organised the event actually was. You didn't really have to think. Everything was thought through. So really from an athlete's perspective. And just really pleasant, professional. All the volunteers, all the staff were really switched on, really friendly, really helpful. And I always thought quite understanding as well about how nervous some folk can be with this. Going forward, the event itself was fantastic, fantastically hot. I think I lost my soul on bike lap 3, and then also on the run. I was doing more of a jog shuffle, but just trying to keep moving, and the heat was just tremendous. And as you know, I don't do well in the heat. The amazing thing for me is afterwards. So yes, a little bit disorientated, a little bit achy directly after the event, and the 2-hour drive home back to Nottingham was fun, but waking up on Monday morning with just a few little, I'd say, DOMs in my shoulders, which has been from my position on the bike, and I think the rest of me was feeling really well. And I think that's credit to the training and being ready, training, and being able to recover so quickly afterwards. I'm here on Friday and feel like I could do it again. So for me, everything was aligned, everything worked well, and I'm already signed up for T100 2025.
And now let's hear from Kelly.
Hi, yeah. Echo what Mel said about the organisation. It was, really well organised event for the amount of people there, which gave me a bit of confidence leading up to the longer race in September, which will hopefully follow a similar pattern. It was also just really good being my first triathlon to get an idea of race day logistics and how it all works with the transitions and the labelling and the time chip, and yeah, it was really good to kind of get a feel for all of that ahead of the longer race planned in September. And it was also just a really nice checkpoint really from the week in Portugal in April to now to kind of see where I've improved, where the kind of focus areas need to be moving forward, and just kind of feel the training starting to pay off, and that consistency in the plan that I'm following. So yeah, really good day overall.
That is our weekend at the T100 and redoing or coming out of retirement and doing a triathlon.
Which I absolutely loved. Can you see us? We're absolutely still buzzing.
Yeah. It's why we do the sport, because we just love it.
Yeah.
And it's reignited my passion for it, certainly.
And me. So, and you just think, that's why we train.
If you've got any questions about the event that you want to ask from an athlete's point of view or participant's point of view, or if you want to get in touch with us about coming back out of retirement from doing a triathlon or where you make the start, etc., drop us an email or contact us on social media through the show notes, and we will happily help you. But so until next time, I've been Coach Oliver.
I've been Coach Jacqui.
And we'll see you.
Thank you for joining us today.
See you next time.
See you then. Or as we say in Yorkshire, Siddy.